Representative Cody Harris, thank you for being here with me today. The second special session just wrapped up. What were your overall takeaways from it?
Overall from the special session, it was a huge success for the state of Texas. From the new congressional seats that we drew and were able to pass after the Democrats finally came back from their quorum break, to different bills that we passed through for a response to what happened with the flooding in the Hill Country. We passed some bills that specifically address camps that are located within a floodway to make sure that something like that never happens again to children along a floodway. And then guys going into women's bathrooms, something like that. We passed a bill that makes that to where women don't have to worry about that anymore. It will be illegal in the state of Texas moving forward. I wish that we could have gotten the House Bill 27, my bill to protect East Texas groundwater, to the governor's desk, but there at the very last day, in the last hours, the Senate put a devastating amendment in it that basically gutted the entire intent of the bill. And I took a stand on the House floor and refused to accept that amendment. But I will continue fighting for East Texas to make sure that everything is done to protect our groundwater here locally.
Talk to me about that amendment. What led you to go against it, and where you could see, this bill heading into the future?
Sure. So House Bill 27 had two components to it. One was a study done by the Texas Water Development Board to find out exactly how much water we have inside the Natchez and Trinity Valley's Groundwater Conservation District, or underneath it rather. And the second part was a moratorium, or a pause for 2 years on that GCD issuing any production or transport permits out of the district. And that's the most critical part of the bill. Without that in the bill is worthless. I even went so far as to go speak with Governor Abbott's team to make sure that the Water Development Board can do those studies even without us passing a bill. And the answer to that is yes, they can. So I'll be working to make sure that they get that done over the interim. So I wasn't going to sit there and pass some token victory bill just to say we got something to the governor's desk, when in reality it would have done nothing to protect the people of East Texas. So I stood firm on that, gave him a very passionate speech on the House floor, and worked hard after that to try to convince the Senate to pull that bill back and strip the amendment off of it. But at the end of session, and when sine die hit, we weren't successful.
Of course, there was a lot of talk this session following the floods in the Hill Country. When you look at the legislation that was passed, do you feel as though that was enough in response to the flooding, or you'd like to see more done in future regular sessions, or even potential special session?
Yeah, I think that it definitely is what we needed to do given the short amount of time that we had. During a 30-day session, it's pretty difficult to pull together statewide or bills that impact statewide issues, and so trying to get that right in such a short amount of time is what we really focus on. So there are other things that have to do with that didn't make it to the governor's desk, like interoperability. That goes back to the Uvalde shooting. It goes to the flooding that we saw, where local governments and local first responders equipment doesn't always communicate together. And so this was a bill that we tried to get through that ended up, we couldn't negotiate out the details between the House and the Senate. So that's something for sure that we're going to come back next session, or in another special session if the governor calls it, to get that done.
Let me ask you, you mentioned some of the difficulties of passing legislation within 30 days. Do you feel as though the state would benefit from having a full-time legislature?
Absolutely not. Our founders designed this system to where legislators are elected. They're part of the community. They live there. They go to Austin for 5 to 6 months for a regular session, and then you go home and go back and reintegrate back into your community so that you can truly have a representative form of government. And I think if we move to a full-time legislature, that gives the legislature way too much time to mess things up, in all honesty. And being a small government Republican, I think the less time we spend in Austin, the better.
Let me ask you, you sort of allude to it throughout the discussion. Do you think there will be another special session?
there's only one person who can tell us that, and that's Governor Abbott. If he does call us back to another special session, rest assured that I will be asking him to place our groundwater fight back on the call again. We got it so close to getting to his desk, and I'm so grateful to him to adding that to the call in that second special session. If we go back for a third, I'm hopeful that he will add that again. But if not, we're going to do everything we can during the interim to bring the issues that we're talking about in East Texas to the forefront of the state discussion moving into next regular session.